I think so. Well,
yeah,
totally...
the only thing I know about Scarface is a crap ton of cocaine. Like, does
Have you
he
ever
die?
You've
snorting?
never seen?
No, I've never seen Scarface.
Scarface is basically Al Pacino plays this Cuban immigrant that comes to Miami and then like works his way up and becomes like a really powerful cocaine kingpin, and then at the end has like a crazy shootout in his mansion where he's like holding like I think.
Oh, okay, so that's where the machine. Does he die by snorting a crap ton of cocaine?
Does he die?
I feel like he dies.
He snorts a bunch of cocaine and then has this crazy shootout. Maybe he does get shot at the end. I honestly couldn't tell you now. It's been a while since I saw Scarface, but
yeah. Anyway,
but everybody knows the poster, and way fewer people have actually watched Scarface.
That's where my little friend comes from, right?
Say hello to my little friend. I think he's got an M60. No, he's got M16s. Maybe he holds 2 guns. I think at one point, and then in Rambo, he's got the M60. That's how everybody knew about the M60, the belt fed. I think. I'm trying to keep.
It's not the same. Wait a second. Scarface was played by.
No, it's not the same guy. Yeah. Stallone.
I was gonna say
Stallone
it wasn't
was
Stallone.
Rambo. No. But at the time, they were 2 very iconic movies that featured guns, and then because of those movies, certain guns became really famous.
Oh, okay.
It's really weird.
That guy's got liver disease. Is what that guy's got.
Yeah.
He's got the yellow eyes.
Oh yeah.
That's the only thing. I'm sure that indicates other forms of disease, but to me, it only ever means liver failure.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So.
It just makes me think jaundice.
Jaundice in the Old West.
Jaundice in the Old West. Yeah, I'm playing Red Dead Redemption.
What you have as a self-proclaimed favorite games of all time.
It's so good, man. It's an amazing game. I'm really surprised at how good it looks. The animations are a little jerky in spots. But
but it's
still one of the best horse games.
The Horse Simulator 2015.
Yeah, Skyrim's horse is garbage compared to this.
Skyrim's horses are magic. They scale vertical walls.
They just do.
Oh man! So when you play the Dark Brotherhood, and you complete you become an assassin, leader of the Dark Brotherhood.
Right.
They just give you this horse that you haven't seen before, I think, at that point, and it's like this. It's called Shadowmare, I think, and it's pitch black. It's got like creepy black clouds kind of around its feet, like a mist, and blood glowing red eyes. The thing is, though, they don't tell you they give you this horse.
Oh, so the horse just shows up?
The first time I fast traveled somewhere was in the dark, in the middle area, and all of a sudden I hear a horse near me. I'm like, what the heck? I turn around. Freaking glowy-eyed black horse right in my face.
Like Sleepy
I jumped
Hollow.
out of my seat and was like, the hell? And then I proceeded to never use the horse because, again, the horses were crap. So even though it was this dark horse that literally they do show you. You do have to get it for a quest. I just didn't realize they gave it to you afterwards. And the thing rises out of a little swamp. Oh, it's creepy as frick.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Skyrim. Apparently, and again, I'm just going to be incessantly talking about Fallout 4 forever.
I'm totally fine with that. I'm pretty stoked for that.
Apparently, news came out that there was a Game Informer article, because that is a magazine that is actually still around.
I know, amazing.
Although I saw snapshots on Imgur of it, so I don't really know.
How weird is that, right? Yeah, no, all the magazine stuff.
It was an interview
past,
about the making of Fallout 4.
Yeah,
and apparently one of the first things they did, because they knew this would be on the next gen console, even though they started it before the consoles were out, which as you need to do, they ported Skyrim to the Xbox One in order to test the tech. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Take your latest game, and I'm not a developer. I don't understand code. I took C++ like entry level stuff senior year of college and basically fell asleep in the back of the class.
C++
so
sucks too.
I don't presume to know anything about game design or coding or anything.
Sure.
But from an engineering perspective, I can agree in at least that design level. I say, yeah, take your current stuff, see how you could update it to whatever specs the system is going to run.
Yeah.
And this made the internet, as who is Skyrim obsessed, explode. Because everyone was like, when are we getting Skyrim on the Xbox One? When are we getting... I'm like...
But people understand, right, that doesn't necessarily mean, like, a graphical improvement. Like, a port is a port. It just means, like,
that's
you made
all it means.
that
They
code
took it,
run on another platform.
all they did was make it run on that platform. And to me, that it was just hilarious to see all this, hype around it. And I'm like,
oh my God,
number one, any of you who are really hype about this have probably put most of your lives into Skyrim by this point. because you've seen the hour counters on Steam.
Yeah.
I mean, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, I played a lot of Skyrim, and I actually played 3 playthroughs before I actually took one to the end, and actually beat the game.
Yes.
And actually, honestly, after doing that, all the other side stuff was more interesting than the main quest.
That's the thing. When I first played Skyrim, I played on PlayStation 3 on Tyler's copy of Skyrim, and I beat it before he did. I basically I beat just the campaign, and I never touched the side stuff.
If you just go straight through, you can probably do it in 12 hours.
Yeah, but like when on all the other playthroughs I've done, I've never done any campaign. Except for the bare minimum, because everything else I do is just side stuff, and I have way more fun with it. The campaign was not bad in Skyrim. I thought it was good, and a lot of people have said it's a lot more palatable than Oblivion was, because they said Oblivion is a hard slog.
My roommate got me into Skyrim because he was into Oblivion.
Yeah.
And by that point, Oblivion was kind of like the problem I mentioned with Fallout 3, where it was just so dated looking.
Yeah.
And
if you
Skyrim,
didn't get into the game early on, it's harder to get into
admittedly,
it later.
Skyrim hasn't aged all that well, and it was still behind, as all Bethesda games will always be. Even looking at Fallout 4. Fallout 4 looks good. I like the art style and the direction.
Sure.
But if you look at it from a pure graphical standpoint, it is behind current gen.
When if they're working off that same engine, then it's going to be
They keep saying stuff about their lighting and everything. They basically put a bunch into their lighting engine.
Probably the lighting engine is shading.
And shading, which it's going to look good.
I don't want to say a big difference
because
definitely
graphics is such an obscure thing, especially nowadays, to talk about, because what I feel we're dealing with most of the time isn't back when you and I were growing up. And you'd see the next game come out or everything. You could say graphics, and everybody kind of knew what you meant. Nowadays, it's more what I would describe as they're starting to get to the point where it's like art direction and art style of this game.
Everybody's worried about we're stuck in Uncanny Valley, and one of the things I've liked about Rockstar games is they've gone for almost this it's not going for realism, it's going for almost like an illustrated real life.
Yeah, you almost have there's an art style. You can you can point out a Rockstar game.
Yes, that's one of the things I liked about Skyrim and Fallout 3 is they go for an art style, and that works better.
And that's exactly where they're going.
Yeah,
and I love it. Everyone's saying, "Oh, it's too bright, it's too everything."
Nah, man, I love how the colors pop.
One of the things that turned me off to Fallout 3 was everything is green. Why is everything green and brown? And they've multiple times I've seen interviews that they basically talked to Bethesda, Todd Howard, and they all say that, oh yeah, that was the direction we took for this game, but they realized now for this one that they really want to make the colors of the area.
And this is for Fallout 3. This is that it was green and brown.
Fallout 3 was green and brown.
And a lot of that too is a filter.
Yeah,
if I'm remembering correctly,
there was a mod that actually
it takes off that.
You can
that
just
color
remove
filter.
that, and it makes it.
Because I remember doing that, and I was really impressed at how much better it looked to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Only because there's more contrast between colors, and that makes a big difference.
So nowadays, it's interesting to see all these graphics comparisons where, really, I feel you're not dealing with. Yes, graphics in the sense of moving towards realism, which was, I feel, what we were, when we were younger, would have described what graphics was.
That's
moving towards realism.
Everybody wanted or thought they wanted.
Exactly.
And the closer we get, I think people are realizing that's not really what you want, because honestly, if I get a game that's a one-to-one replica of real life, I'm going to be freaked the hell out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want that.
It's
like, when I was younger, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, yeah, I just want a virtual version of real life, and I do not want that now. I'm honestly way happier with a stylized version of things. I think that's a little better, and it's less creepy to me. I don't know. If we get a Grand Theft Auto, which, someday, probably long after my lifetime, they will have a one-to-one Grand Theft Auto that is just like real life, and I don't want to see it. That concept freaks me out.
Yeah.
Again, that's not going to happen anytime soon, so.
Oh, no, yeah. And we've got some ways to go, but if you compare, what astonishes me is, like, even looking at Red Dead, which has aged well.
Yeah, and now it's a 6-year-old game, which
comparing it to today's games, the progress that's made in 5 years is insane.
Yes.
Like, just looking at, I played Call of Duty Advanced Warfare last year.
Oh yeah, I never played that.
It was good. It received a lot of hate from the community, and the reason I bought a Call of Duty game and played a Call of Duty game.
Had you played the other ones?
My cousin is pretty big into them, so I would play them like co-op with him, and I still do occasionally.
Okay.
But the reason I got this one was the campaign looked interesting, mostly Kevin Spacey. And
that's right.
then on top of that, you had what essentially looked like Halo and Call of Duty had a baby.
Yes.
And that excited me.
Yeah.
Now, I had fun with it. I'd say I definitely got my money's worth out of it. But now I think I tried, like, just because I'm, again, stalling for Monday or Tuesday now, I tried, like, jump back in, play some Advanced Warfare multiplayer. My word, I suck. Oh, it's just constant.
Are you playing on 360?
No, I've got it on PC.
Yeah, okay.
Which, so
one of
the main
Black Ops 2.
Yeah, one of the main topics I wanted to kind of just talk about is crappy PC ports. Because what we've seen over the past year and a half of gaming, coming up on 2 years, is constant release issues with video games. Yes. And they have, I think that that man became pink mist.
Yeah, he got chunked by that train.
He did.
It happens a lot in this game.
I remember that one time I parked a horse in front of the train, and the explosions. Yep. So many explosions.
Yep. You can lasso a woman and lay her on the train tracks, and it gets you, like, an evil achievement.
Well, because that's what evil people in the West did.
That's exactly, But I think if I'm remembering that right, I might be totally off.
When I got Advanced Warfare, the campaign, and even the multiplayer, had a lot of issues. Yeah. The campaign's cutscenes, which were just glitchy as all, every time it would get there, it would sometimes glitch, if not crash the whole game.
And you have a pretty good computer, because I played Black Ops 2 on not a system that was not within, it's probably below the recommended specs. Yeah. It ran it, and it worked okay.
The question is, did you get it around release?
I did, and then I came back to it later after there were patches.
Okay. See, and the thing is, for anyone who really wants to do this nowadays, we've had multiple instances where games are either poorly optimized.
That's a big one. Far Cry 4 suffered from that on PC. I played that on a pretty
really
good system,
poorly optimized,
and that was brutal. You'd have serious issues.
Or they're all downright broken.
Yeah, the broken out of the game.
Arkham Knight, which was the last of Rocksteady's Batman games.
Had you played that?
I had not played it, but I saw the shitstorm that came up because of it, to the point where they released the PC version. I'm not sure. It wasn't at the same time as the game, or it might have been. Whenever they released the PC version, the consoles were fine. Consoles ran fine. Everything was good. And it was unplayable.
That had the issues.
It was legitimately unplayable.
Yeah.
From anything from all kinds of graphical glitches to ranging to save issues and everything.
People said they had a lot of either not saving or corrupted saves, and a lot of graphical problems
so
that prevented
bad,
play.
Steam took it down.
Right.
You could not get it. They took it off the store and said, "Hey, we're gonna fix this, and then we'll give it back." Well, they gave it back about a week ago, and it's still broken as hell.
Oh, I didn't realize it was just
that. And what they did is they're offering players refunds, but the funny thing is, they marked every Steam review that was put out for it as a pre-release review. Like, every review that came out after they released it, they marked as pre-release review. And that's probably the worst case of a PC port failing horribly, but good games that are now...
There have been many.
That are just fine. Another one that annoyed the heck out of me, because I love the game so much, is Dragon Age Inquisition, which was a wonderful game. I love BioWare. My aforementioned affinity for Mass Effect. So I decided to give Dragon Age Inquisition a try. And when that came out, there were times when I got so frustrated because the game kept crashing. Oof. And I was like, I want to play this game. And I remember one time just physically no, I'm done. And I just sat down and didn't touch the game for a solid month.
I don't blame you.
Until I came back to it. And it upset me because it was such a good game. I wanted to play it.
Oh, yeah.
I was there I want to play this game, but
when you're constantly crashing out, it kind of pushes you to a point where...
It breaks you out of it, and you're
Fallout 3 was like that on PC when I first... Because I got that game on release
You see
PC.
What scares me.
And I know. And
I am...
This is my thing. This has never been new. The other thing now is, and this has been mentioned by other people, one of the reasons why PC ports... flag behind in terms of support and in terms of quality is because PC games are overwhelmingly pirated over purchased, and that's
it's not
keep finding
it's
that
not
to be the
where
case.
The money is.
Nope,
so
not at all. Console releases are way more profitable
into making sure that the consoles run fine.
I don't blame them, and I understand why. I'm with you that is not reasonable to then, like, with, is it Arkham Knight? I keep wanting to call it Arkham City.
Knight.
Yeah, Arkham Knight. In a situation like that, that's clearly a thing where you should have never released the game in its current state. Like, that was not a fair thing to sell to someone, because clearly it was broken.
And see, that's what I'm starting to get to. And my worry about Fallout 4 is I'm going to go to play this, and I'm not going to be able to play it right away.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to wait who knows how long for patches. Now, Bethesda games have always been a little broken on every console and everything.
Yeah,
so if it's just if I'm like experiencing Bethesda moments, like, you know, something randomly flying up into the atmosphere.
Yes.
You know, but if it's game breaking stuff.
Yeah.
We're getting to a point with game releases, because Black Ops 3, which was released yesterday.
Oh, wow,
or today.
That's right.
It was today, actually, or yesterday.
Yeah.
Everyone's reporting all kinds of PC issues.
Yeah.
And yes, your biggest user base is on consoles. But
I'm not saying discount the PC audience.
Don't discount the PC audience, but
the people that will pay for it are super dedicated.
What you need to do is, if you're going to focus really hard on the consoles, just do that. And then go back, and even if your release date is pushed back...
So you're saying not cross-platform at launch.
Don't cross-platform to PC at launch.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Get it to run well, and then release it. And I know you're probably going to lose a little bit of money doing that.
That's exactly what happened with Grand Theft Auto 5 when they ported it to PC. Now, to be fair, the PC release got delayed multiple times for a very long time, and even at launch still had a lot of problems. I still think, though, it was handled better than a lot of similar... Because then you compare Grand Theft Auto 5...
And what I'm kind of coming to the conclusion of...
Compare that to Batman, and clearly Batman was a freaking mess.
And what I'm coming... And not that consoles have been without their problems. You have
not at all.
Assassin's Creed Unity, which is still broken as hell.
The classic example.
You know, flying teeth, just teeth face and eyeball face.
You know, in Assassin's Creed, the original one, I remember when I got it for 360, which it was one of the first games I had for 360. At launch, when you put it in without updating, because I didn't connect it to the internet when I first used it, you look at all the foliage was, it was like flickering. I remember everything in the game flickered a ton, and I was like, is this game broken? And then I looked online, and people were saying just patch it, and it'll go away. But I still remember, at launch, that was one of the first times I'd encountered a console game where, out of the box, there was a major issue that I noticed with it.
Right.
That was really interesting.
I can't name all the games. There have been... It feels like almost every major release now is plagued in some way by launch issues. Yeah. And some games have done remarkably well. The Witcher 3 has gotten all kinds of praise for a proper launch, for all of the support that the team has given out, the free DLC,
I've heard nothing
that type
but good
of stuff.
Things
nothing
about
but
that
good things.
Except that it's a super long game, and I will never have the time
I
to
got
play
it for free from a buddy, and I feel bad because I still haven't played it.
Yeah.
Just because I came off of when, Dragon Age Inquisition was finally running smooth.
Yeah.
I had played that twice in a row, and it's in the same...
And how long is a playthrough of that game?
I did 2 playthroughs. The first playthrough is to learn everything, kind of... You just learn as you go through, and I just kind of romped through. I didn't do everything, and I think the first playthrough took me somewhere around 40 hours.
Okay.
The second playthrough took me 70.
You tried to branch out.
I tried to do everything, and I did a lot of the game.
Yeah.
And it was worth it. Now, next time I'd probably go through, and the nice thing is, the next time I'll play through is I can pick and choose what I want to do, because I know all the quests now.
What's going on.
I know what's a pain in the butt, like finding all those stupid skull key things. God damn it,
I'm having a similar experience replaying this. The first act of the game, when I first played through, probably took me maybe 3 days of playing to get through, and I finished the whole first act last night in one sitting.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, holy cow!
And that's why games like Fallout 4 coming up is going to be really interesting, because the first time you go through, you're blind, oh, what's this and this and this.
Yeah.
And then the next time I go through, it's going to be look what I missed the first time.
Yep.
I mean, 3, 4, 5 playthroughs through Mass Effect, and I was still finding quests I hadn't done.
Yeah.
Somehow. So that's always great that's why I like bigger games. I'm not usually what I would call the big open world. Red Dead isn't quite my type of game. The Rockstar games aren't quite kind of the things. But so
and I find it
far,
interesting
Bethesda's take on it.
You and I differ a little bit, because you are much more in favor of a better produced story with less freedom. If the story holds up better, you will take that over
Exactly.
more freedom in the game if the story is diminished. And I totally understand that point of view. And I was definitely in the same... I was in that same camp until...
Right.
Honestly, until I played San Andreas. That was probably the first time I got
I remember playing San Andreas
that
with
was
you.
Yeah, that was the
good
first
times.
time I got into an open world game and really had a great time consistently. That game had plenty of problems, but like, I mean, I still look back on that game and think like, holy cow.
It was a founder.
How different.
It was a founder of open world.
Yeah, because GTA 3, I remember playing that and I was like, this is good, but I played it when it was already maybe a few years old and it was clunky then. Vice City, I felt the same way about. A lot of people have really good memories of that game, but I found it to be a little frustrating. But check it out, I got my sweet Clint Eastwood poncho.
Put on that poncho.
Yes, I've been waiting just to get the poncho.
So good.
But yeah, I think that's interesting because yeah.
Well, and now you're seeing what you're starting to see is a merging of the two. Like
Yes.
Fallout looks to have they had their launch trailer come out.
I'm excited to see more narrative in Fallout because Fallout 3 I
sets
liked a
up
lot,
the
but the
narrative.
narrative was weak.
It sets up the narrative, and the narrative sounds like it's going to be hella good.
Yeah.
And I respect Bethesda. For how big a game and how hardcore of a following it has, there has been nothing. Like, there's been no gameplay released. There's been, like, they have been very, very... Basically, what happened is,
Now
a couple
we're
days
gonna
before
see that.
E3...
This weekend, I really think somebody's going to leak.
Oh, it's
some
already
copy.
been
Oh,
happening.
has it? Okay.
But they've been
As soon as it hits a
taking it
store-
down as so much. So basically, what happened is Fallout 4 got announced a couple days before E3, and they were like, "Hey, look, Fallout 4!" And then at E3, they're like, "November." They showed off a bunch of gameplay, there's about probably 20 minutes of total gameplay type stuff that was
This
shown.
is where they showed like walking around that starting area.
Yeah, exactly.
seeing
They
the
showed all that,
dog
their
and
crafting system reveal,
Okay,
and
yes.
then they went dark.
Yeah.
They went dark, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. And honestly, up until we basically got, since then, the live-action trailer, which came out about a week or two ago, and then we got a launch trailer.
Right.
That is all, and other than
Oh, that was really
billboards,
it?
that's really all they've
I
done.
haven't sought anything out, so
And-
I didn't know until you showed me those
Yeah, so
special
I was,
things.
I've basically been refreshing the Fallout 4 Reddit pretty regularly, just because like I've mentioned before, I'm a trailer whore, so I like to know. I mean, even though I've already bought the game, I'm really, everyone is like clawing for details.
And
about
now
this
you
game.
have it preloading on Steam, right?
I started it downloading before I came over here.
That's awesome. That's
So-
awesome. When is it officially released?
I believe it's probably, they say it's the 9th. I don't know. I think the 9th was thrown around because that was a day before the 10th. So Tuesday is the official release day.
Okay.
I think the 9th is when the review embargo ends.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited, and I'll stop talking about it.
No,
now,
man.
but
Hey, I'm
that's all because it's all I'm going to be talking about next week.
I'm very excited to actually see it played.
Yeah.
I want to.
You're going to have to roll over to my place.
I'm gonna have to
we'll
try
do
it because
yeah.
after I play for 5 minutes, that'll kind of tell me what I'm curious about, which is how is the movement and the handling different than Skyrim and Fallout 3?
They
Because those
apparently
games
based the shooting mechanics, like their gold standard was Destiny. That's
a
what
good
they
standard,
said.
because honestly, Destiny was basically just like a really polished Halo. So
Right.
I'm golden with that.
So it looks so good. I've been already going on someone who made an online character builder, and I'm brooding some surprises for me by planning out my build path.
I don't blame you though.
But
I
I'm going to
that.
go for I'm going to
awesome.
go for what I would call the cowboy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for all VATS and all accuracy and pistols.
Yes.
And just
Yes.
that kind of thing. So
I
I'm
did
gonna
a playthrough like
glass
that
cannon
on
playthrough.
Fallout 3 and had a blast with that, like small arms.
Yeah,
Was it small
glass
guns?
cannon.
Small
I don't
arms?
know. They've renamed a bunch. of
Yeah,
stuff.
a lot of stuff's
Bloody
different
Mess is
now.
back though.
Oh, Bloody Mess is hilarious. You shoot somebody in the foot with like a handgun, and then every appendage goes flying, and you
yeah.
see their head bounce around. You're like,
So, I mean,
what?
some of the perks look really fun, and I'm just I'm so excited.
No,
but yeah,
man,
what
I'm
I was
stoked.
gonna say is with Fallout 4 and the story and everything, the release trailer showed a bit of story, and I'm hype about that because it shows that it's gonna have a good narrative. But it's neat to see where you're coming from, a place where you're like, I love my open world games as long as I'm having fun. A weak story doesn't necessarily turn
Honestly,
me off.
here's what happened with me. I was all about story, and then I got burned a bunch of times by a lot of really disappointing games, and so now I've basically said, like, if the gameplay is good, then I'm just going to pretend there's no story. and I don't know if that's necessarily the best approach, because I still, like, GTA 5, I liked a lot. I liked the story overall. But it's got a lot of things in it where I'm like, this is either childish, or just offensive and not funny, or just disappointing and not what I wanted. But at the end of the day, you know, the gameplay's amazing. So
I have the same feeling about Halo 5, which I'm interested in, because the constant criticism of it was the story's pretty weak, but the multiplayer is going to be incredible. So I do not. I know the game doesn't always have to impress me.
Sure,
but
no, and I like that approach, though, to like want a good story, because I think it's a good thing to want, and I think as long as other people keep asking for that, people are going to keep making that kind of a thing. I just got to the point before people started treating it as seriously as they do now. Like, you know, when I had given up on a lot of stories in games was like before I'd ever played things like The Last of Us, where like that game especially, gameplay wise, the game does not have a lot of options to it. It's a very linear game.
Throw a brick over here. Throw a brick over there.
Yeah, it's
brick friend.
Somebody there's a great on Retronauts, the podcast. They one of them referred to that type of game as like a story tunnel, which I thought was a really clever.
That's a very
it really is what it is
adept.
Though. You're literally going point A to B to C and just completing objectives along the way, but you really never had any choice. But it allows them to create a more focused narrative, and I thought that was a great narrative in that game. It's not.
And
that
what
game's
you're
got
starting
its problems,
to see is what qualifies great games nowadays. Like, I think back of what would be my great games as of late.
Yeah.
Dragon Age Inquisition.
Sure.
Mass Effect 3. Let me think. I know, I just named 2 BioWare games.
Nothing wrong with that, man. That's what they do. That's what they do.
I had another one in my head that was also good. That was gameplay. Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
That was a good game.
Now, Black Flag is another one of those situations where the story was kind of meh.
I didn't get through like much at all of the campaign.
But you were a pirate on a ship going yar har har.
It was sweet.
And
sea
shanties.
So the game, you sang shanties.
Oh my word!
So I went to Allie and I was like, Allie, they sing shanties, and I like made her sit there and listen to me playing shanties.
That did the same thing to Chelsea.
It was so good.
So you're really getting into a situation where the best games that are coming out are starting to marry. They kind of have a marriage of the two.
Yeah.
You have to always have good gameplay. That is what makes video games and not movies.
Yeah.
But
because a lot of times a good story or good presentation is the hook, but if the gameplay's hard to get through or just subpar, it's hard to continue.
A counter argument to it, though, would be the rise of the Telltale games, which are almost entirely quick. To my understanding, I have not played one. But they appear to be basically all quick-time events.
They're quick-time events and dialogue choices, but they're very much like point-and-click adventure games. So someone like me that grew up with early point-and-click adventure games, they're exactly what I wanted from those type of games because they're so similar.
Right.
If you ever played, and I don't know if you ever played like point-and-click games. Did we talk about this before with Pajama Sam and like?
No, we haven't talked about retro stuff.
Okay.
But I think we should definitely talk about that next time. So,
oh no, are we over time?
We have reached.
Holy crap! That went way too fast.
We have talked about the stuff.
Oh man! All right.
So, I have been Isaac. We never did the intro. Oh my god!
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Intro at the end. I'm Isaac.
I'm James.
And this is the Just Interesting podcast. Now, and I've been Isaac.
I've been James.
And this was the Just Interesting podcast.
Oh my god!
Good night.
You maniac.